Okay, Jamie, let's analyze your unicorn model that you've created here. So what I've done is I've done an export of the files, and we've got our high poly and we've got a low poly, and obviously you're just doing the horn, the body, and the eyes. So I'm going to just open this up in Maya so I can just analyze your UVs just to have a look, see what's going on. And there we have our little low res unicorn. So let's have a look at him and see what you've done. Okay, so there he is there. So that's the horn. That's one of the eyes. By the way, if you're going to use you're going to do exactly the same eye. I would have only just done one of these and then mirrored it, so you're using less UV space. That's there, so obviously you've probably broken the tail off as a separate element, I take it. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, so it's there. So you've got that across there. Oh, geometry looks okay. Okay, the eyes could do with being a bit better. You've got that geometry flowing around there nicely. Now it's coming around on the inside of the eye, which could potentially cause a problem. There, it's pushing in to that eye. Now your seam looks okay, running through there. You see that white seams running through it. But yeah, it looks okay. You got that running around the inside of the leg, so that all looks good. So I would say maybe the topology around there is kind of a little bit out, but it shouldn't cause any problems. And obviously your eyes are all separate, so that looks all good to me for sure. Let's go and have a look in the outliner and see what you've labeled them in here. So obviously I did this, so I've got unicorn underscore LP, left eye, right eye, unicorn, unihorn. So I want to just open up the high poly one, which I've got here. Yeah. Oh, so I can see on the eye we have a seam running around the front of the eyeball. It could be your eyeballs that are causing the problem here. That seam should not, because you've got so much of the eye behind the head, you should not have any seams on the front of the eye for sure. Let me just open that low poly one again. Yeah, why have you got a seam running through there, Jamie? That's not good. And that one's actually in a different position. We'll definitely use one eye, UV it, and mirror it across. In fact, I'm going to do that, show you how it's done, see if that makes a difference. to this before we do the bake. But actually, before I do that, what I'll do is I'll take that into Substance and I will bake this as we have it at the moment. But that potentially is not good to have a seam through that front part of the eye. It doesn't allow you to texture. It's not really human readable as far as this is concerned. It would be better to re-UV that for sure, and to use that same eye, mirror it across the other side. Then of course you can take the UV and drop it over to the side if you want it separated, or you can use the same UV space, which is a good policy if you're using something that is identical to the other. And as it's on the other side of the model, you know, if there was something distinctive in there, you wouldn't see it on both eyes unless you're like that. Okay, that's just a little tip for you anyway. Let's jump into Substance now and just check out what's going on. All right, let's go and grab our mesh. So unicorn, low poly, and I'm going to leave that on specular glossiness. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to click OK. Okay, so I have got separate maps there. But okay. Good. Okay, so let's go and bake this down. This is the area of concern. So I'm going to go and just bake my textures. I'm going to up this. I'll put it on 4K. And I'm going to go and grab the high poly and put this to HP and LP. Let's put that to my by mesh name. All right, that should be it. I've got my ID map coming by Vertex Color, by Polygroup, Q Shift Ambient Occlusion. That's all okay. Good. All right, let's bake this down. Bake all textures. Now I've done the texture set list separated out just so that I can see if there's an actual problem with colouring one part to the other. I will be combining it into one when I do another test, just so that you can tell. So that's doing the ambient occlusion. You can see that little line there. That's your UV. Don't want that. You should protect that. So I'm going to show you how to re-UV this so that it's better. Okay, so here we have it. Well, remember we've got all these as separate maps here. So it all looks good. It's nice and crisp around the eye, and we've got all that coming out as it should. So let me just drop a fill layer onto here, because I noticed on your coloration you'd put black in here. So I'm just going to put one to black. I'm going to jump to the eye, and we'll drop a fill layer in here as well. So there we go. We've got no bleed going on in there. Looks good. The unicorn horn, let's put that into a, let's put it into a blue, like that. Okay, so yeah, no problems. Okay, so maybe we're going to get a problem when it's combined as one map, so we'll have a look. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of this. We're going to make it one map this time, and we're going to see if we get this strange artifact happening when we colour it up in here. So that's a unicorn body. That's all good. That's good. Let me just zoom in. I was saying to you that that eye socket is not very deep. I would push that in more. For sure, or even delete the faces on the back of the eyelid just in case, because it will intersect with the eyeball, which you might not want to happen, you know. So let me just reopen this back up with one texture set here, so we'll try that. Okay, so let's go new, turn on the create per UDIM. That's the same, that's the same. I'm going to up this. I can actually make it 4K. Let's go and grab our unicorn. Sorry, mesh, select, low poly, open. So create UDIM is 1. Click OK. Okay, so we got our 101 texture map there. Change this, unicorn texture. Okay, enter. Right, and do the same thing that we did before. So we're going to come in here, come down to the normals, bakeage of the normals. I'm going to put this on 4K, actually 2K should be enough, and choose our high poly, underscore HP, underscore HP, underscore HP, my mesh name, relative bounding, average normals, back face, going to leave all that on default. Our ID is going to be based on the polygroup mesh, and we're going to bake. Now I would say, looking at the eyeballs that you've got here and here, they're really close to this. You've got all this texture space room around here, and this is really close. So you need to position things like this. Needs to be straightened, rotated round. These need to be brought up here. Maybe if you use the same eye UV for both, definitely will just make it better, really. Okay, so let's have a look at this now. That's good. No problems. Okay, so let's now put in a fill color. I'm going to make that black for the eyes. So it's all gone black at the moment, but I haven't added my color picker. So I'm going to right hand click on here, go to my add mask with color picker. You're going to see the ID mask comes up based on the poly groups that you created. We're going to go to picker. We're now going to pick this little eye here, and we're going to go to picker again. We're going to pick this little eye here, and there we go. So no bleed, no problem. All right, so it works. So I just want to quickly show you just how to tidy up, and I'll obviously show you the export as well. Just think it's going to be useful for you, but that's basically it. So if I create another fill color here, I made this a blue. Let's go into a blue there, and use my color picker. Pick that part. Oh, wrong part. Oops. That part. There you got the blue. All right. So anyway, right, I'll take this into, I'll open up the Z tool now, just show you. Let's discard that. How I do the eye. Right, so here's your model here. I think they're all low. For the sake of this, I'm just going to get rid of these because you're obviously working on those bits. Okay, we'll bring this back. That's our unicorn. Good. And I'm just going to come into the eye, and I'm actually going to delete these eyes out. So I'm going to click the delete here, and just so I can start fresh. It's really for me, not really for you. So I'm going to go into Z-sphere. I'm going to go into normal sphere. I'm going to go to initialize. I'm going to set this down to about 16 by 16. So I want it to be quite low res. That's going to do the job. I'm going to make that polymesh 3D, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come into this like this, and I'm going to delete some of the edges. So I'm going to use the Z modeler to do this. So I'm going to take this edge here. I've got insert single edge loop, and I press the Alt key. Oh, sorry, I'm going to go into delete an edge, and we're just going to go in here, and I'm just going to delete these out. This is to make them quads. That's good. Now I don't need the back faces, so I'm going to press the Control Shift and Alt, and I'm going to get rid of all of these faces on the back. Just going to make it easier. The eye is not going to rotate or be seen, so I don't need them. So I'm going to come in here, go modify topology and delete hidden. Now I'm just left with this. Okay, so now I could divide this eye up, but while I've got it in a low state, what I might as well do is actually use the UV master on it. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. Apologies. Right, going to jump back into the thing now. I'm going to call this, let's call this eyes, and underscore LP. Going to jump back into your unicorn, and I'm going to append this in. Let me just turn off the poly paint for this stuff. Bring the unicorn back. All right. Let's append this eye here. So I'm going to put this 90 degrees. Now I'm not putting it in position yet because I'm about to UV this into this model. So I'm going to go in and we're going to go T-pose to mesh. Where is it? Can't find it. Where's my T-pose? Okay, transpose, yeah, T-pose to mesh. That's good. We've got all that set up. All right. So all I'm going to do first of all is I'm just going to do a quick UV of this. So I'm going to click polygroups and UV just to have a look, see what we got. Flatten. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's put it around there, although it's joined the head, which I'm not happy about. Look how round that is, more like an eye. That's human readable. Look at this piece, also very good. So the only piece I need to basically work on is going to be this. So I'm going to press the Control Shift on this. I'm going to go into Enable Control Painting, and I'm going to say Attract, and I think this is what you did. So I'm just going to click in here. And we're going to make sure symmetry's on. Which way is your symmetry facing? That's it. And I'm going to paint in here. So I'm going to go to Standard Brush, RGB, turn that off 100%, and draw our tracked lines down here. And I think this is what you did to actually get this to work if you're working to the Minion course. So we did something like this and said, yeah, I don't care about that as long as you go down that central piece. And then you also said, okay, I also want you to go down the leg for it to line, which is good. You did all that right, that's for sure, which is good. And I don't care if there's any seams around the foot because that's not seen. And 'and, uh, that was what you did there. Okay, so click, bring it all back, and now with that enable control painting on, I'm going to unwrap it again. So I'm going to click the unwrap button, and we're going to go back into this. I'm going to go to flatten, and that's much better. There is a bit of stuff going on there, but you know, I can live with that. But notice the horn's really straight, and that's really straight. Okay, so that makes a big difference. And I also actually might want to go in and just protect some of this area. So this time I'm protecting some of the area, and what I'm looking at here is to protect the eyes of this kind of area here. Maybe the side. A little bit of protection around there. I'm going to also raise a little bit of this out. In fact, what you can do is you can run a mask along here, inverse it, and then use the attract along this line. And unmask it. Just checking. Can be a bit fiddly this. With this as well, I don't want it to. I want to erase this edge. It's automatically going to try and pop to that anyway, but I definitely want to protect this front area here. Yeah, because that's the eyeball, so I'm trying to protect it. So you can do as much of this as you like. So again, polygroups, got symmetry turned on. You can always attract from ambient occlusion as well, which is also another quite good way of doing it. So we'll click that, have another look. Yeah, that's much better. All right, so to straighten things up, I'm going to go to rotate. I'm going to press the control on this and center it, and that's going to allow me to straighten this up so it's just a little bit better. This placement of this is really important. So I've got the eye, obviously the eye is really big now in comparison to the model, but I'll bring it down like that. We can put it there. We've got the unicorn horn, which I can put there. So you notice how much more organized this is now because I'm going in and just changing a few things in here. So once you've got all that, we can go unflatten. And obviously now you come into this and you go copy UVs. Then we can come back and we can paste those UVs into the tool. Or I can go T-pose to subtools. Transfer, yes. So that's going to put them back in the original. There, it's done. So now I've got this eye. I can position this eye in position. Let's bring it down, bring it up. I'm actually going to go all high again with this. Okay, I can put this eye in position here. Okay, we're going to twist it slightly this way because I want the eyeball to be in the right place. So let's bring it down a bit more. Bring it in there. Just make that position a bit better there. Just turn that polyframe on to look at it. Okay, now I've got that, what I can do is I can just mirror it. So I can go to Subtool Master, and it's going to have, if we mirror it, it's going to have the same UVs. So I'm going to go into my mirror, and I think you've done it on the Z. So I'm going to append it into a new tool just for starters, And if we look on that side, there he is. So now I'm going to merge these two down. So I'm going to go merge, merge down, click OK. And now I've got my eyes there and they're in one tool. So I can just rename it eyes underscore LP. And there we go. And then I can obviously subdivide them. That's good, got nice eyes. So if we check those eyes, you're going to see they take up the same UV space. Let me just go into solo, come down to my UVs. So quickly, something to be aware of is this eye, it's got UVs while it's single, but if you make a duplicate of it, and it will lose that UV. So if I go to mirror and I go to append as a new subtool, it'll be okay. But if I merge it into the same subtool, watch what happens to the UV, the morph UV target over there. It disappears. So Control Z. So if I do it this way, mirror, as a new tool, click OK. Now if I alt click this, you're going to see that I've still got my UVs and they'll be in exactly the same place as the other part. So that's how you can do the eye to make sure. Now your export settings I'm a little bit worried about because you're obviously getting some sort of problem. So I'm just going to recap that for you. So I'm going to go all low. I'm going to make sure I label these properly. So I'm going to call it I right underscore LP and rename this one I left underscore LP. I've got all this stuff. This is all good. I want to take this, just get rid of that. Doesn't matter about the end part, but I'm going to call that. And when I export this out, you've obviously got polygroups for the tail on the main body, and you've got polygroups for all the other parts as well. Yeah, these are all in separate polygroups, which is all good. So it gives you a separate ID. Notice that these are the same polygroup now because we made a mirror of it. So that means that'll be easy for you to select it. You can select that one eye and it will mirror across the other as well. So when you do your export settings here using FBX, then you've got to come into the FBX exporter. I've chosen FBX 2014, but I think you can get away with 2016. Let me do 16. There it is. I'm saving it as ASCII file. I've got visible tools. I've got smooth normals. If I had any maps, I would embed in the maps as JPEGs or PSDs, whatever you like. And under the options, you can export polygroups as materials. So that exports that as materials, and then you can click that export. So it's as simple as that. Just hit the export button. Call it Unicorn LP. Save. Okay, that's done. So I now make all these high like that. I don't know if I've added any. No, I haven't. So I'm going to take that up to about 4. And I'll take this up to about 4 as well, otherwise I'm going to have a low normal. Okay, and we're going here again. We've got everything exactly the same. So we're going to do our export, and this time we're going to call it HP. High poly. Oh, before I do this, sorry, should have come in here and rename these. Just rename these end parts HP. Rename HP. Be nice if there was a bulk way to rename these. Guys, if you know a bulk way to rename the extensions at the end, that'd be really handy. HP. Good. And there we go. Export that. And save. Okay, and done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file, send it back to you. I'll just call it new. Actually, I'll call it Mojo, then you'll understand which one it is. So let's just do that and go. See, I haven't saved any polypaint data with this on any maps because we don't need it. You're obviously painting this all in Substance, so you don't need it because we can just get the group IDs to create the ID map. So I click no to that. We're going to open this up inside of Substance again. So I've got the files here, just going to open Substance. Okay, come into here, go new. I'm going to go and select that file, My Files, LP, click open. I'm going to leave that so it creates one tile. I'm going to set document resolution to 2K. I'm going to click OK. That'll load our unicorn in. That's good. And you can see that really clear now. That one eye color will color both of them. So let's bake our maps now. Just going to come in, bake our textures. Going to do the same as we did before. I'm going to set this on a 2K. I'm going to go and grab my actual mesh, which is the 8P mesh. Going to come down here, label this as HP and LP. We're going to set our ID here as polygroup, hue shift. That's good. World space normals. Not going to change any of that stuff for the sake of this. And I am doing another really detailed Substance course with my character course, which I haven't got onto yet because I've got to UV it and stuff. But that's coming out soon as well, Jamie. So you'll be happy about that. So let's go and bake this down to this single texture map. Okay, and there you have it. So if I zoom in on this little baby now, there we go. So if I want to color the eye up, I can set a fill layer in here, and let's put it all black. Come down, mask color, color picker, grab the eye. There it is. Now I think also it looks like it's coloured that part as well, which is causing an issue. I think, you know what, I think I named it wrong. I think I named that LP, so that's what's causing trouble. That shouldn't happen. I just think I labelled the I wrong when I exported out, so it's merged it with this. It doesn't matter, it still works, but that's not what I wanted to do. But at least it's nice and sharp. You can see it's actually in there as well. You see that? Kind of in there. Which is kind of weird. Yeah, it's kind of pushed that out as well. It's actually projected it out. So it doesn't matter, it's worked, but yeah, it means I don't even need that because it's projected it out into here because it wasn't named. So it was looking at that eye, and then the actual unicorn body pushed it out to that eye, which is weird, isn't it? Still, there we go. You might need to change some of your directions a bit. In fact, it shouldn't be taking on that little dot on the horn there. Let's put this into a red. Yeah, I'm getting a very weird thing happen here across here that wasn't happening before. So I've just opened the ZBrush file back up. I just want to rename this, and I want to make sure that everything's correct, because yeah, look, high poly, low poly. So I forgot to label this high poly in here, so I'm going to redo this. I'm going to re-output this. So I got HP, unicorn, unihorn, unicorn, left eye, right eye. Okay, right, let's do it again. So this is the HP version. So we got everything left on the same as we had it before. I'm going to export this out. FBX, visible, no mesh in edit mode. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Right, export. Let's go and find it again. My files, HP. Yes, I do want to. This should now work perfectly fine. And this is the importance of naming those files. Making sure those files are named properly is essential. So we'll let this come in here. I'm going to call this one LP. Hit enter. Rename. LP, enter. Rename. LP, enter. And rename. P, enter. Okay, all low. We need this to be nice and low. I'm going to do the export of this. So let's export this one out. Let's replace it, that one there. Click yes. All right, so now it will work because we've made sure that we got our file names all correct. So I'm going to close this down, actually cancel that. Let me just go in, save this, and I'll put it in here so you know what it is. And go back into Substance. Select that LP. Click OK. I've even left it on a 1K map. I'm not even bothering with this. Let's go put this on a 2K map. Grab our mesh. Oh, grab our mesh. High poly. HP. HP. Low P. By mesh name, ID, polygroup, hue shift. That's it. I think that's everything I need. And bake the maps. Okay. So now I'm not expecting to get that little unicorn horn in there, and I'm not expecting that eye to pull out onto this. So because it's now looking at the low res subtool name and it's matching it with the high res subtool name, and it's only baking to that. Okay, so it's baking to that. So it's doing the same for the body, it's doing the same for the horn. So whereas before it was looking at the body and it was looking at the horn, and it was trying to do a projection into the horn or into the eyes and across the eye, because of the naming convention that I didn't do for the body, that caused the problem. So now you can see it's already generating. You can look at the head there, and we've got no little horn sticking out of it, which is obviously a good thing. And we should have the same for the eye as well. We're not going to have that projection of that part of the eye into it. So you can see it's a little bit there, it's showing the ambient occlusion around the eyelid, but it's not actually projecting the detail from the eye. It's just giving you that ambient occlusion around there, which can be handy. So that's nearly finishing. So that has finished. So now I can just go, and because this eyeball is the same for both, I can just go into and use a fill color here, and let's choose black because that's what you did. And let's go and right hand click, go to color mask, go and pick that, and boom, we're done. So let's zoom in, make sure it's all crisp. There you go, all crisp. That's what you wanted. Good. And that is done. Lovely.